everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Continuum from Image Processing and Computer Vision and Machine Learning. My name is Sai Gautam, CSI MVSR Student Coordinator. Pleased to introduce today's speaker, Sirisha Dagubati. Dagubati Sirisha has completed her graduation in the year 2001 from Madras University in Electronics and Communication Engineering. Her professional experience is a rich blend of industry, research and development and academics spanning more than 17 years. She has submitted her PhD thesis in the year 2019, recipient of CSI Best Paper Presenter Award at International Conference for three successive years, 2017 to 2019. Her principal area of research is image processing, but her interests include computer vision and machine learning. She is currently serving as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering in MBSR Engineering College, Usmania University. She has several research publications in international journals and conferences to her credit. She is actively involved in consultancy projects with prestigious R&D organizations. Now I request Risha ma'am to continue the session.
Thank you, Gautam. Um, Thank you, Gautam. We'll start the session today. Could you see the presentation on screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yeah. Let us start the presentation. Today's topic is about how there is a progression from image processing to computer vision and machine learning to deep learning is the topic. As you can see, if you Google around, you can see the lot of images you can see in the net, especially image that you could see in the left. You can see that deep learning, machine learning are all the subsets of artificial intelligence. For all these three major areas or major domains, the computer vision is the data that feeds input to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So when it comes to computer vision, you can understand computer vision deals with images. So it mostly is a subset of image processing. So from this slide, we can understand that all the three major domains, either it is artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning, all the three major domains strongly rely on computer vision. So today we are going to see about computer vision and understand what is the significance of computer vision in today's applications. Computer vision is one of the hottest subfields of artificial intelligence. There's a tremendous potential in this computer vision domain. This potential has enabled this artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning to explore in wide variety of applications. Just I want the participants to look at this image and understand what this image actually is. Just take 1 minute, look at the image and understand what this scene or what this image trying to describe. For a layman like me, if you ask me to tell about this image, I can say that there are four people walking around in the foreground. There's one street, and there are several cars at the background. This is what I can say. If you ask a student who is studying engineering, he can say there's one guy walking in barefoot. You can observe it, and they can say they start immediately try to match the faces, and they try to think is the face is a relevant one or not, and they will infer that there's no danger to them. They are walking very freely, and they can see a car, ambassador car, which is not parked well, and they can even go to such a extent they can see all the three men are wearing formals and one guy is in non-formal suit, non-formal dress, and they go to such a extent that they can understand that three guys are wearing coat and one guy is wearing a jeans suit, and they try to identify even the texture of the suit also. So this is how the people if we ask the people to understand the image, this is how they keep understanding the image. Apart from saying that there are 4 people in the foreground and there are few cars at the background, they keep understanding the image to such a detail. This is what we are expecting a computer vision system to do. Okay, so is it not so good that we give a image and you want the computer vision system to tell what actually the image means, a complete understanding of the image? So to know about the computer vision, we know the input for a computer vision system is the image that we want to understand. Now I want to understand about this image. That image I fed to as the input of the computer vision system. Whereas the outputs, what I extract from the image is, I will extract shape from the image, texture from the image, color from the image, size from the image, what are the objects available in the image. So all these things, that all maximum possible things, what all is available in the image, I try to extract. And all these I extract to give a as complete as possible description about that image or understanding about that image. What all I extract from the image are called as features. So you should understand at this point of time, features are the extractions from the images. Let it be shape, texture, color, size. So the whole computer vision system tries to extract maximum information as much as possible from an image to get a clear understanding about the image. So before getting into that, there are few people have given a survey, has given definitions about computer vision. So this PowerPoint presentation would be provided to you. Before looking to it, let us understand what are images. If you look at this, just look at this picture and observe it closely. As we zoom in, we can see tiny square boxes very close to each other. All these tiny boxes collectively form an image. These small square boxes is called as a pixel. Now, what is a pixel? Pixel is the smallest, or you can say small element or a picture element in an image. Basically, each pixel, if you see there is a square box, small square box, basically each pixel represents a color. Now, can you see the pixel which I have shown here, small square box, represent blue color. These colors are nothing but a combination of red, green, and blue color space. So we can create millions and millions of colors with this RGB. These are the millions colors that we can generate using this RGB. So now we understood what is a pixel. Pixel is the smallest piece, is a small patch of square patch in a image, which used to represent the length and height of which contains certain information about that image. Now we need to understand what an image is. Without understanding what an image, how do I extract features from an image? So I just want the students to understand what an image is, how computer perceive an image. So image, let us see, look into this image. This is a chessboard image. Can you see this? Is my mouse pointer visible? If it is visible, can you see to the right, there is a chessboard image. When I say chessboard, it is alternative white and black patches. How the computer is going to perceive this image is a digital image is a two-dimensional function. When I give a passport size photograph, by seeing the photograph itself, you can say it's a two-dimensional image f of x comma y, where x is the rows. Can you see in this checkerboard there are 8 rows? X is the rows and y are the columns. There are 8 rows and 8 columns. So f of x comma y is the digital image which has number of rows and number of columns. Intersection of every row and a column. Can you see there is an intersection of every row and a column is a picture element or pixel. You can also call it as a pixel, or you can call it as a picture element, or you can call this as a pel. So what is the value of that pixel or intensity of that pixel is what we are going to see. There are three types of images, students. One is binary image, other one is grayscale image, third one is color image. Let us first start with what is a binary image. Binary image, when I say, so now from this diagram, I understand there's no more image. We are not going to deal about image. All the images or whatever the image we see, it is just a matrix of values. How we get these values depending upon the type of image. As I said, there are three types of image. Let us see the binary image. When I say binary, it means size of each pixel is 1 bit. 1 bit is used to represent 1 pixel. When I say 1 bit, it can be either 0 or 1. If it is binary, 1 is used to represent a white pixel, black is 0 is used to represent a black pixel. So whole checker box, when computer reads that image, it reads it as ones and zeros. Can you see to the right? This is the pixel values of this checker box. This is fine, ma'am. What about a grayscale image? What about the other image? The next type of image is a grayscale image. When I say grayscale, every picture element or a pixel, can you see the size of the pixel? It needs 1 byte to represent a pixel. So when I say 1 byte, it means 8 bits is used to represent a pixel. 2 to the power of 8, which is 256. So it needs 0 to 255 levels are there to represent the shades of gray. The lowest level 0 is given assigned to value black. The highest level 255 is used to assign the value for white. In between 0 and 255, somewhere around 130 to 170 is the various shades of gray. Can you see a 3 by 3 pixel if my mouse pointer is visible to you? Can you see a 3 by 3 pixel? You have the first pixel is black color, so the lowest one 0 value is assigned for black. Next is the shade of black. As it progresses from 0, it is progressing till 255. This is how a grayscale image is read by a computer. Now we see color image. Ma'am, we have seen binary image. You said every picture element is represented by 1 bit because the size for a binary image is 1 bit. For a grayscale, it is 8 bit. What about a color image? When I say color, you can see every pixel or each pixel, color pixel is a combination of red, green and blue. Yes, each pixel is a combination of red color, green and blue. So since it is a combination of three, every color, it needs how many bits to represent? It needs 8 bits to represent. So every color needs 8 bits. So since three colors, you need totally 24 bits to represent one single pixel. Now can you see there is a blue pixel in the image? This blue pixel is a combination of R, G and B. What is the R value you have? That is given, that is represented as a 8 bits. G value is represented as a 8 bits. B is 8 bits. Totally 24 bits are required to represent one single patch of image, pixel of an image. I'll show one more image. Can you see this? You know, every pixel is a combination of three colors. Can you see what is the red value here? So 255 is the red value, 0 is your green, and 255 is your blue color. When you see, this is how you represent a color image. So now we've seen what is an image. We have seen what is a picture. We have seen what is an image. Now we understand that when I say image, it is just a matrix of values. No more image, no more dealing with image. It is just dealing with matrix of numbers. When I say dealing with matrix of numbers, it is very easy to change the number values. You can either add numbers or delete, subtract numbers, or you can do any operation on the numbers. If I do any operation on the numbers, directly I'm doing operations on the images. So that we will see now in image processing. I'm not going to deal completely with image processing. I will give an introduction about what is image processing, how we have progressed from image processing to computer vision, and then how we have kick-started from computer vision and progressed it to machine learning. So now we will get into image processing. When I say image processing, focuses on processing images. I'm just going to process a image. Here my input would be a image, my output is also an image. Then you can ask, when both are images, why do I need a image processing? If you see the image properly, my output image is a better image compared to my input image. So image processing is nothing but an algorithm which is going to do certain processing on the input image to give an output which is definitely better than the input. So what are the techniques you have? What are the various algorithms you have to do this image processing? Before getting into it, that we need to say, when I say processing, there are three types of processing. One is low level processing, next is mid level processing, and third one is high level processing. When I say low level processing, if you see this low level processing triangular box, the input is an image, the output is also an image. When I say input is an image, output is an image, if you go back to the slide, you can see input to this algorithm is an image, output to this algorithm is also an image. It means what type of processing is this? It's a low level processing. What are the different low level processing we have in image processing algorithms? We'll see all that one by one. First algorithm is image enhancement. You give input as an image, your output is an enhanced image. So what is that I need to do to get an enhanced image? I need to use certain image processing algorithms. What are all the algorithms, ma'am? I've listed all the algorithms which is used to enhance an image. So I'm not going to tell what about algorithms, but you need to understand there are several algorithms which is used to enhance the images. This is one kind of image processing or low level processing. You'll see the next type of low level processing. The next type of low level processing is image restoration. When I say image restoration, I give a degraded image as an input, I get a better quality or non-graded degraded image as the output. So, or if I give a blurred image as the input, I get a de-blurred image as the output. So what is restoration? Restoration means it restores try to restores the image back. So what are the algorithms we have? These are all various restoration techniques you have in image processing to restore the original image back. Okay, then we'll see one more technique called compression. Compression is also an image processing technique. Can you see the extreme right image uh, is a JPEG image? I give input as this image to any compression algorithm. It gives a compressed image as the output. So input is an image, output is an image. Since input and output are image, it falls under the category called low level processing. Now, if you see the output image, this is a minimally compressed image. Whereas you see extreme right, a maximally compressed image you can see. So what are the algorithms we have, ma'am, to do all this compression technique? These are the list of algorithms you have to do compression technique. It can be lossy or lossless. In lossy, you have several types. In lossless, you have several types. Today, we are not going to deal with about this algorithm, but you need to understand that there are several low-level processings are there, like enhancement techniques, restoration techniques, compression techniques, where all these techniques try to do some manipulations or some kind of manipulations or processing on images so that the output image looks better than the input image. So for a layman, like a student who is listening for the first time about what is images, for a student, I just want to say input to the algorithm. Can you see the input to the algorithm is an image? Yes, the input to the algorithm is an image or a sequence of image. Sequence of image is nothing but a video. Input to an algorithm can be image or a sequence of images. Whereas the design of the algorithm, how you design this algorithm is, you design this algorithm in such a way that it needs to process your input image to get a better image, which is used for various applications. So these outputs, what we get from a low-level processing, will be fed as an input for computer vision algorithms. This is how we have moved from image processing to computer vision. So what is that low-level processing is doing here? It takes an image, process the image to give an image which is of better quality or better image. That image will take as a input and feed it to a computer vision algorithm so that we get more understanding about the images. So this is about the design. Now we will see what is the output of the algorithm. What is the output of the algorithm? Output of the algorithm is the other image. Now you tell me what processing is this? This is a low level processing. All your image processing deals with low level. All your image processing where input is a input is a image and output is a image are all low level processings. If you see, there's a small camera here. I'll just show you the pipeline of computer vision. There's a small mobile camera. I've acquired an image through my mobile camera. After acquiring an image, I will do pre-processing of it. What is pre-processing? Is low-level processing. It means input to that low-level processing is an image acquired from a mobile camera. Output is an enhanced image, that is removing noise because of the sensors or removing noise obtained from the environment or atmosphere. So this is what I'm doing. So this is the first pre-processing technique, or you can call low-level processing technique I will do to an image to get a better image. This better image I'm feeding to a next box. This next box, what I'm going to deal is about computer vision. This is how we have moved to computer vision. Step by step, we will move till your machine learning. Okay, so now we have moved from IP to CV. Now, upon the type of image. As I said, there are three types. I think there is a cross, some disturbance. Now, if you see this, I've got this image. Again, we are back to our image. What is our image? There's a road and there are 4 people walking around the road. That is the input image I'm going to give to what? Computer vision system. What is that I'm expecting a computer vision system to do? I want the system to extract all the information from the image. What all information it can extract, it has to extract. It has to extract the guys, it has to extract the shapes of the people, color of the people, texture of the dress, texture of the road, size of the cars, and the spatial arrangement or distance between the people. All the maximum information that is available in the image need to be extracted by this computer vision system. What is all these? All the information that we are extracting are called as features. Okay, what is a feature? The information that we extract from an image is called as a feature. Now we need to understand how to detect that feature and how to describe that feature. This is the very important step in computer vision. And whole lot of research is happening only in feature detection and feature description. How would I detect features? How best I detect a feature? This is what people are working on. There are several algorithms coming year by year on feature detection and feature description. If you see, let us get into the feature first. Now I've shown a small flow chart. This I've got it in the, when I googled it, I got this image. Can you see the low level processing? The first processing where I give image as a input, output of the low level processing is a better image. So I've done with low level processing. Now what is that I'm going to do? I'm going to do a mid level processing. What is mid level processing? I give image as an input, that is better image, enhanced image. Output of low level processing is fed to the mid level processing. What is that I'm going to extract from the image's features? So what is my computer vision? My mid level processing is completely a computer vision. You should understand. So whatever I say computer vision, it is a mid-level processing. So what is the core objective of this mid-level processing? Extract features from an image. If you see to your right, I have given a small, there is a small TT. It says, when I give input image, when I get output as an image, I call this a digital image processing. When I give input as an image, and if I get a description or attributes as the output or features of the output, I call it as a computer vision. Now we are in computer vision. Now we need to understand how is that I'm going, what is a feature? Now what is my agenda? Single point agenda. What is that? What is a feature? how to extract feature, or first how to detect the feature, then how to extract that feature. So today, if a student can understand what is a feature, how to detect a feature, and how to extract a feature, he is done with half of his this is the first half of his project. Okay, so let us get into the computer vision algorithm for a from a layman's perspective. For a beginner who looks at a computer vision, he need to understand that input to a computer vision algorithm is an image. Yes, students, input to a computer vision is an image. Whereas what is the design of the algorithm? What is that algorithm need to do, a computer vision system need to do, is it need to process or extract information from the image, so that it gives a meaningful or a clear understanding about the image. That is what a computer vision system is going to do. It is going to extract the information for what? For a clear understanding about the image. So what is the output? Output is no more a image. Output of a computer vision is no more a image, it is features. So we are going to extract that features. In certain context, people will call this as attributes also. You can either call it as features or you can call it as attributes. Okay, so now we are going to see about what is a feature, how to detect that feature in an image, how to describe that feature. So I've taken I've seen this slide from Jitendra Malik. He's a professor in a computer vision lab. He's a pioneer. He has written triple R books in computer vision, where he says, when I say computer vision, it means recognition, reconstruction, reorganization. The whole computer vision deals with recognition, reconstruction, and reorganization. Today, we try to tap recognition first. Okay. So, what is all that, ma'am? Let me than this diagram, let me show a small flow chart about how to recognize an object. Now see this diagram, okay? If it is visible, how to detect or how to recognize an object or a scene. Suppose there is a scene here. You can see there is a scene at your extreme right. I've used a camera to capture that screen. What type of camera I have used? I have used a two-dimensional imaging camera, your mobile camera. It's, I have used a two-dimensional imaging sensor. Using that sensor, can you see the blue color one? The whole flow diagram is coming from bottom to top. It is bottom to top, students. So you start from the bottom. Bottom is a screen using a sensor. Using a sensor, I'm capturing that scene. So I call this as image acquisition. I'm acquiring that image through a sensor, through a camera. After acquiring the image, I get a digital image. That digital image, I use image processing techniques. If you see the star marked image processing techniques, any image processing technique I use and enhance the digital image to get a new digital image or a better image. Using that better image, I try to extract features like edges, regions, shapes, textures. So these are all the features that I try to extract from the image. So I get images with the features. These features I need to give as the inputs or features, I can say, or I can say it as attributes. I need to give to input of a high level processing. This high level processing technique will recognize what the feature is, what the image is about. When I say high level processing here, it is almost a machine learning algorithm comes here. So the machine learning algorithm takes features as the inputs, process that features and give a recognition of the scene. Can you see I've taken this scene as an input? After extracting all the features from this scene, if I give all the features to an input of a classifier or any machine learning, supervised or unsupervised classifier, it classifies and categorizes the whole thing. It says there is a sky. there is a building, there is a flag, there is a face, there is a banner, there is a bus. So it starts categorizing all the objects in the image. This is called object categorization. So to perform object categorization, students can take this as a project. You give a input, your algorithm should categorize the objects in that input. Okay. Next is scene categorization. The same scene, you need to say whether the scene is a indoor or outdoor. If it is outdoor, it is a heavily traffic or light traffic. It need to say whether it is a urban area or it is a remote area. So this type of categorization you can do. So for doing categorization of an image or recognizing what a object is, what is required, features are required. So now we are going to get into features or high level processing. What is high level processing? What is the input to a high level processing? Features are inputs to high level processing. What algorithms I can use in a high level processing? I can use a classification algorithm, or I can use what machine learning algorithms I can use. I can use a classification algorithm, or I can use a object detection algorithm, or I can use any segmentation algorithm. Can you see, when I give that features to a classification algorithm, it says, it categorizes. Can you see A? Yes, there's a person sitting in a chair with his pets. When I give this image to the input, when I feed this image features to the input of a classification algorithm, it categorizes into two class. He says there's a class called person class, there's the other class called animal class. Okay. The same thing, if I give it to a object detection algorithm, it says there are four objects: a cat, uh, three categories belong to animal class, and there's one of person orange. It draws a bounding box around each object and says this is a cat and this is a person. When I give the same thing to a segmentation, it segments the whole image and says, oh, there are four segments, four regions. Based on the shape of the region, I can identify whether it's a cat or a person or any other animal sitting. So these are high level processing. So we have moved from low level processing to mid level, and from mid level to high level processing. When you see the diagram, lower level processing, I again tell you, low level processing, your input is an image, output is an image. In mid level processing, your input is an image, output is a features extracted from an image. The features which you have extracted from a mid-level processing is fed as an input to a high-level processing, which gives you an understanding about whether the input is give you a clear understanding about what is the object in the image or what category it belongs to. So Sandhya ma'am has covered this part of it. She has covered what is a classification, what are the types of classification. So I'm not going to tell about all that, but you need to understand the accuracy of the algorithms, machine learning algorithms, or accuracy of the classifier algorithm. People say my classifier algorithm is 99% accurate. So all these accuracies or any machine learning algorithm strongly rely on how good you extract the features, how best you extract the features. So feature detection or feature extraction plays a very vital role, and it controls the accuracy of high level processing. So let us get into the computer vision now. I have just given you this image. You can see image processing focuses on processing image, but what is computer vision is, when I fed, can you see the small flow chart in below? Can you see a small cat? Yes, I have given, I've taken an input image. My input image is a cat image. I fed that input image to an image processing algorithm so that this algorithm will remove all the noise and do all adjustments so that I can get a better image as the output. This better image I'm feeding to the input of a computer vision. Now, what is this computer vision is going to do? It is going to extract the features from the better image, okay, and give a feature attributes. This feature attributes I'm giving to a machine learning algorithm. This machine learning algorithm will tell your input image belongs to which class, whether it is cat class or dog class. So, so now you understand how we have progressed, how we have moved or progressed from image processing to computer vision, and from computer vision to machine learning. Now, there are few people say computer vision, image processing depends on computer vision. I will show you one slide here. So you want accuracy. So this is a slide that says I can capture an image. I give that image to image processing algorithm. It gives a better image. So that better image features will be given to the input of machine learning algorithm, so that accuracy is high. But the other way is also possible. What is the other way? Is there are few for the past 5 years, if you see, there's inverse thing is happening. What is that inverse thing that is happening? Is you take any mobile cameras, people are very good in using smartphones today. Any mobile cameras, there are face beautification filters. Yes, you capture an image, immediately it uses computer vision algorithm to detect the faces. So first, in the whole image, if you see there is a whole image, in the whole image it detects only the feature. After detecting the feature using computer vision algorithm, what it does is, to the detected feature, it applies an image processing. So it detects a feature. After detecting the feature, it applies certain filters to the face feature and get a better image. Now, this is used maybe during 2004, maybe 16 or 17, 2018, people were using this kind of tools where it needs to take a image, capture only the feature, capture only the face. After detecting the face using computer vision, it starts filtering the face. But today, any smartphone you take, it is doing advanced type. What is advanced here is, it identifies the landmarks of an image. Can you see the person, the landmarks, his eyes, nose, lips, corners of the lips are all identified. That landmark, whatever it is identified, the region around the landmark is beautified or filtered, so that the you get an enhanced image. So first you are using computer vision, then you are using image processing. The reverse thing is happening today. So this is your original image and this is your enhanced image. This is an example for face. You can see face beautification filters which you have in your mobile phones or smartphones. What it does, it captures an image. From an image, it extracts the feature. After extracting the feature, it detects the landmarks of the feature and start enhancing all the landmarks. So you get a beautiful face like this. So it is so artificial, right? So this is what it is doing. But now, how? These are all applications of computer vision. Now, we need to deal what a computer vision is. So we need to tell how to extract a feature. So my next slide will tell you what is a feature and how to detect that feature. What are the types of features? uh, i'll I'll just stop here and just want to know, uh, is there any questions? Anyone?
Madam, there was one question by one student, I guess. He was asking the difference between digital image processing and machine vision.
Machine vision, yes, yes. See, digital image is nothing but capturing an image to get XY coordinates, spatial coordinates. Machine vision is the same thing, but how you capture an image in a machine vision, the algorithms changes. Okay, in machine vision, computer vision are all synonyms. Okay, I can either call it as computer vision or I can call it as a machine vision. But you can see certain books very clearly says machine vision, computer vision are all synonyms to each other. Digital, what these guys are going to do, these guys are going to capture only an analog image and convert them to a digital image. After converting to digital image, these machine vision algorithms are trying to extract features from the digital image. Okay, so machine vision, computer vision are all synonyms to each other.
Madam,
Anyone
another question, difference between computer vision and machine learning.
Oh, I have very clearly said computer vision is a mid-level processing. Computer vision is a mid-level processing. I acquire an image, I capture an image through my smartphone or any sensor, two-dimensional sensor. I acquire an image. After acquiring an image, I try to extract features from the acquired image. That features or attributes are fed to a machine learning algorithm. So computer vision algorithm is mainly used to extract the information from an image. These extracted information are called features or attributes, which is fed as an input to a learning algorithm, machine learning algorithm. Machine learning algorithms like classification algorithm or any other algorithm, regression algorithm or classification algorithm, which process these extracted features and give an output based on the type of application. So there's a strong deviation between computer vision and machine learning. Output of computer vision is fed as an input of machine learning. Okay, I think, is it okay? Okay, I'll just switch over to the screen again. Is it visible? Is the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am. There are no more doubts. You can continue.
Yeah. Now, what is that we are going to learn is about features.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Before
visible.
getting into it, as someone has asked, you can see how computer vision meets machine learning is what we have. I have given a small diagram. Even this is taken from an internet source. There are several images. I have used 3 images. The diagram shows 3 images. I've taken 100 dog images, 100 cat images, and 100 raccoon images. Every image I've extracted feature from every single image. So I have totally 300 images. Every image has a feature. I've extracted features from 300 images, and I have labeled uh, each image. So I've extracted the feature from dog image and then labeled it to be a dog. So using 300 image data, I'm training a model. I'm training a classifier with the labels. So I will get a model here, learned model here. So next time, what I do, I deploy any query image. I've given a dog here. What is the job of that model? It extracts features from the dog image. That features would be the input of this learned model, so that the learned model will take that feature and try to predict whether the features which is extracted from the input image is a dog or a cat or a raccoon. Okay, so this is how the computer vision meets machine learning. The image feature extraction, all this is a part of computer vision. The next immediate thing is machine learning. The models comes from machine learning. So, as I said, the image feature extraction comes in computer vision. Now, after extracting the feature from an image, I can use any model. I think Sandhya ma'am has covered this. I can use a supervised learning model or unsupervised model or a semi-supervised model or a reinforcement learning model. I can use any machine learning models, and I can predict my output, whether it belongs to cat class or a dog class, or the object is a ball or a bat or any other shape. Okay. So our focus is now moved to computer vision. Now I need to tell you how to extract features from an image. So now the pipeline comes again. I have acquired an image. After acquiring an image, I've pre-processed the image, converting the image to a better image. After pre-processing, I started extracting the features of the image. After extracting the features, I've given to a high-level processing. This high-level processing, whatever is there, high-level processing can be any machine learning model, so that you get that predicted output. Okay, when you see this feature extraction stage, there are two boxes. One is either you can extract a feature using an algorithm, or you can use segmentation type of extraction techniques where you extract feature through segmentation. Both the boxes, if you see the arrow mark, feedback and feed forward arrow mark tells both the stages are concerned in extracting the features. So what is a feature is what we are going to see now. A feature is the most predominant part of an image. You take any image, the most predominant part of the image is called as a feature. I'll just take a small example. If you see a small baby, when you take the baby in your hand and look at the baby for a second, within a second, you try to extract features from the baby. Intentionally or unintentionally, you try to match the features of the baby with the features of her mommy or with her dad. If it doesn't match, you try to match her features with her grandmom or granddad. So you have excellent processing, natural processing by God. There's no need for someone to say extract features. When you look at a person or look at a baby, immediately your eyes, in a single blink, it extracts the feature. After extracting the feature, it does the next processing. What is the next processing? Matching the feature with the feature of the mom. And tell and predict, come to a conclusion saying that the baby looks like her mom or the baby looks like her dad. Some people are so learned that they say the eyes look like her mom and the cheeks and chin look like her dad. So this is the level of understanding or processing that our brain is doing. What we are trying to do today is trying to mimic that. Okay, what is that learning models are trying to do is trying to use the features that is extracted by the vision system. Using that features, it is trying to match it with the existing database and tell whether it belongs to this class or some other class. So a feature, now you should understand that a feature is a predominant part in an image which carries enough information about the object. There are two types of features. One is global feature, another one is local feature. Ma'am, what is a global feature? When you ask me what is a global feature, I can say a global feature is nothing but extracting information from an image, from the entire image. If you see to your left, you have a fruit image. There is multiple fruits captured. What is a global feature? I extract some information about this image globally. From the entire image, if I capture some information, I call it as a global feature. What is local feature? Instead of extracting information from the entire image, what I do, I detect certain feature points, or I detect certain objects, feature points, and then try to extract information from that feature points are called local representation. This we will see in detail about it. Now let us start with global feature representation. What is global? Extracting some information about the image globally. You give an image, you extract the information from the entire image. Okay, now I've given a small toy image. You know, image is no more an image, it is all pixel values, intensity values. What is this global feature extractor is going to do is it is going to extract some information from the image and going to describe that image. What is that it is going to describe? So you can say that image is global feature represents the whole image. Image is a two-dimensional, right? Image is a two-dimension. You have rows and columns. What is that global feature extractor is going to do is it is going to give a one-dimensional feature vector. This vector is going to describe this image. Okay, so image is represented by one-dimensional feature vector. Instead of two-dimensional vector, now we are going to have a one-dimensional vector which represents this image. What can be a feature? A minimalistic feature, if I say, I have given to the right. I take mean of the whole pixel values and give one value. X is equal to mean of the pixels. That is one information I'm extracting from the whole entire image. That is called as a global feature. But mean, one single value is not sufficient to describe the whole image. So I can go still further more. What is the next thing I will do? I extract mean of the image, standard deviation of the image, skew of the image. So now I got three information about this image. What are they? Mean, standard deviation, and skew. So what is my vector? My vector is a single dimensional vector of three elements. One is mean, other one is standard deviation, other one is skewness. So what is this vector going to describe? This vector describes information in the whole image. What information is this describing? It is describing this is the mean value of the image, this is the standard deviation of the image, this is the skew of the image. Ma'am, is it useful, ma'am? Sometimes, very rarely, we are using these kind of features. Now, we are looking for vectors, or we are looking for vectors to describe texture information from the image. We are looking for a global feature extractor to extract the color information from the image. We are looking for the extractors to extract the shape information from the image. So we have moved to feature extraction techniques where it extracts color of an image, texture of an image, or shape of an image. All these three are global feature detection techniques. If you see this, if you see this, this is an example of a global feature extraction. What is that I'm going to do? I've given an input of a textured image. Can you see? There is a lot and lot of textures in this green leaf. What is that I'm going to extract? I'm going to extract the texture information from this image. From this whole image, I'm going to extract what information? Texture information. This texture information, how will I extract using texture feature extraction algorithm? So if you see to the right, I've given several algorithms available today to extract the texture features. GLCM, you take LBP, LDP, these are all several algorithms which is used to extract texture features from the image. Am I extracting locally? No, I'm extracting the information from the whole image. So I can extract the texture of the whole image. Can you see? If I give this image to an algorithm called local binary pattern, LBP algorithm, which is used to extract the texture information, it has given me an output called X is equal to 25, 136, 182. What is this 25, 136, 182? Nowhere two dimension. The whole two-dimensional image is now represented as a single dimensional vector. Okay, which describes what information? Texture information of this image. Similarly, there are several algorithms you have for extracting shape. Similarly, there are several algorithms you have to extract for extracting the color. Okay, I have given list of algorithms which is used to extract the texture. This I have taken from the paper and the reference is given below. Now, this is about a global feature. When I say global, extracting information globally from the image, that is from the whole image. That information can be a texture information can be a shape information, or it can be a color information. Ma'am, what is local? When I say local, means local images extracting local parts of an image or local structures in an image. Can you see this? There is a ball. Yes, if you see the ball closely, or if you observe the ball closely, there are several shapes inside that ball. So my interest is to extract all this local information, local structures available in this ball. So instead of extracting the whole ball, What is that I'm going to extract? Just going to extract this shape. Yes, so I'm going to extract this shape, the next shape, the third shape, the fourth shape, the fifth shape, and the sixth shape, and the ball as such. So local features are the most predominant part in an image, which carries maximum information. Okay, what are the several local features available? Is there are edge features. The edge is a local feature. There is a corner feature. There's a region feature. There's a line feature, blob feature, or ridge features. These are all several features available. What is a corner features? If two edges intersect, I call it to be a corner. Okay. So what is a line feature? Given an image, wherever there is a line, it detects that lines. So that is the job of line feature extraction algorithm. If I give an input image to a blob detector, what is the job of the blob feature detector? Wherever there's a closed regions, wherever there is a closed region, it gives that it extracts that closed regions or blobs from that image. So what is the ridges? When you see this detector, it's used to extract all the ridges from the images. So what is all these edges, corners, regions, lines, blobs, ridges are all features, local features. When I say color, shape, texture are all global features. These are all local features. How do we detect these local features is what we are going to see now. Now, the challenge is, if you see this feature, you can see there's an input image. Can you see a small square box? I've detected a feature in this small square box. Whatever feature I detect should not change. It should be even if there is a change in illumination. Can you see there are three differences? All the four images belong to the same class. There's a small toy. I've taken images from the small toy. The first image, there is a photometric variation between the input image and this image. What is photometric? There is a illumination difference between the two images. You see the next image, there is a scale difference. This is a small image, this is a bigger size image. What is the third image? Can you see this image is a rotated view image? The view angle at which I've taken these two images are different. Whatever be the deformation, it is a photometric deformation or scale deformation, rotation deformation, or affine deformation. If you detect a feature, the feature should not change irrespective to deformations. So you should decide an algorithm that should be robust to all kind of deformations. So now we will see the how to extract the feature points from an image. Okay, so these points, what we have detected, are called feature points. In this literature, certain papers call it as interest points. Either you can call it as a feature point, or you can call it as an interest point, or you can just call it as a key point. Okay, all the three are same. The point which is detected from an image. Okay, so what is that? First, let us get into the local feature detector. Just look at this image. I tried to explain as simple as possible. My input image is a cat. Yes, can you see? My input image is a cat. I fed this input image to a local feature detector. So to detect the feature, I need a feature detector. Okay. So there are several feature detectors algorithms. So I will use any one of the feature detector algorithm to detect feature from an image. Now what algorithm I have used here is, I have used a SIFT algorithm to detect a local feature from the input image. The output of this algorithm, if you see, it has given me an output with two features. Can you see the red points? Yes, these two red points say these are the two features that it has detected from the input image. Okay, so feature detector algorithm, input to the detector algorithm is an image, output of a detector algorithm is the features from that images. What all the features it has given? It has given two features. What is that feature? It has given a corner feature. When I say corner, what is a corner feature? You take this image, original image. Can you see a tower? Yes, there is no digital image. Take binary edges of this image. So first I've detected the edge feature. When you zoom in and see here, two edges intersect to form a corner. So there are several corner detectors to detect a corner feature. So in this cat, can you see it has a sharp ears, two edges club to form a corner. So I've what is the output of this feature detection algorithm? It has detected how many features? Two features. What are the two features? Feature 1 and feature 2. What is the output of this detector algorithm? It says this, it has detected two features, feature 1 and feature 2. What is the coordinates of that features? It means it says the first feature is taken at x5. What is the row value? Row value, fifth row, and 60th column is the first feature. This is your first feature. Can you see? I have given XY coordinate. What is an XY coordinate? It says at what row and what column you have detected this feature. So totally it has detected two features. What are the features? Feature 1, feature 2. Feature 1 is detected from row 5, 60th column. If my mouse pointer is visible, it is detected in 60th column. So my X value is 5, Y value is 60. What about the second feature? Second feature is also detected from row 5, but the column is 30. So what is the output of a local feature detector? Local feature detector will give you an Excel sheet of how many features it has detected and what is the XY values of that features. Okay, so that is the output of a local feature detector. So this output we have to give it to a local feature descriptor. Now I have just detected a feature, I have not described it. Yes, I have just detected a feature. If I want to describe a feature, I need to use the algorithm which is used to describe a feature. So there are several algorithms available in the literature to describe a feature. So now we will see how to describe a feature. Okay, what is the output of a feature detector? Feature detector gives an Excel sheet which says how many features it has detected. From the previous diagram, we know for a given input image, you have two features. So this is an Excel sheet of two features. What is this descriptor going to do? Is this descriptor takes this input Excel sheet, first goes to the first feature point. What is the first feature point? It is in fifth row and 30th column. So it goes to the fifth row and 30th column. After going to the fifth row and 30th column, it takes a small window around that feature point. Can you see the next image? It has taken a small window around that feature point. After taking a small window around that feature point, it describes that entire window. Okay, it is going to describe that entire window. What type of description it is going to give is, it can take any it can give any description. It can take histogram of that particular window, or it can give mean value of that particular window, or it can give mean, SD, skew information of that particular window. Suppose here I've taken three statistical feature: mean, standard deviation, and skew. So to this window, small square patch, what is the mean of this patch? What is 26 is the mean of the patch, 45 is the standard deviation of the patch, 23 is the skewness of that patch. Okay, so there are several descriptors. Some researchers will take small window, square window around the feature point, and some people, researchers will take a small circle around the key point and say, if you take a circle, the accuracy is better than a square. But these are all experimental. You can detect a square, or you can take a square, or you can take a circle. So now you should understand, a student should understand, output of a feature detector is a point, xy values, but output of a feature descriptor, it doesn't describe that single point. When we ask any student, it took several months for me to understand feature descriptor is not describing the single point. Feature descriptor is taking a small patch around that single point and describing that patch. Now, in this example, I've taken two 2 points, two detected points. For two detected points, I've computed what? Mean, SD, and skew. So for every point, I have how many descriptors? So for feature point 1, I have a 3 description. For feature point 2, I have 3 description. Now, instead of representing an image, now what is that we got as an output? We have got these feature descriptors as an output. So these feature descriptors are called attributes. Okay. So how we use this in an application, we are going to see. Now we are going to see an image matching application. Okay. This is the basis of several applications. If you could understand this application, any other application like recognition, image recognition, object recognition, image retrieval, image matching, object matching, are all follows the same procedure. Okay. So what is that I've done? I've taken 2 images. Can you see both the images are taken as an input image, and I'm trying to match these 2 images and try to know is there is any match between them or not. If I look at it as a layman, if I look at it, my eye can say both are same images. One is 0 degree, other one is 90 degree. But how a computer says that both the images are same image? There is a matching between 2. How does it detect? To detect it, we need to go for a computer vision algorithm. So what is the first step in computer vision algorithm? Detect the features. So I did try to detect features from this input image. When I give this input image to a feature detector, it gives me an output. Can you see the output? It has detected how many features from an image? It has detected 2 features from that input image 1. Here again, I have given this input image 2 to a feature detector. It has given me 2 feature detected output of this input image 2. How does it actually look? What is the output of a feature detector? It says how many feature points it has detected and what is the X and Y locations of that feature points. Okay. Now there are 2 points, 5 and 30, 5 and 60 are the 30 and 60 are the X and Y locations. Whereas here, the X is 20. At 20th row, I have detected this point, whereas my column is 5. Can you see? This is your outputs. Right, I got the feature detector. Now I need to describe that. To describe the detected points, I need to give it to a feature descriptor algorithm. What is this feature descriptor algorithm going to do? It is going to take a small patch around that feature point. After taking a small patch around the feature point, it is going to describe that feature point. In this tutorial, I have used 3 description. What are the 3 descriptions I've used? Mean, standard deviation, skew. So for every point, it is given its mean value, standard deviation, and skew. So I have got the feature descriptors of image 1 and feature descriptors of image 2. What is that next thing I'm going to do is, these feature descriptors are the input for feature matching. What is feature matching? It is going to match every feature. Is the arrow mark visible? Yes. Is my mouse pointer visible? Yes. Is my mouse pointer visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is that feature matching going to do is, it is going to match every feature of my input image to every other feature of the next image. So can you see, I have 2 points here. I have 2 points in the image 2. So image first feature point is matched with 1, 1. Then I try to match 1, 2. Then I try to match 2, 1. Then I try to match 2, 2. So every point in the input image is matched with every other point in the second image. So I will do 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. What is matching, ma'am? Is I'm going to find the distance between the first vector and the next first vector. So first 1 and 1, I will take Euclidean distance between the feature descriptor of first feature point and second feature point. Can you see I've taken a small example? This example is what type of distance measure I've used. I've used Euclidean distance. What is my 1 and 1? 1 and 1 has 26 to 45, 23. 26, 45, 23 is my first descriptor. What is my second descriptor? 23, 42, and 21. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Euclidean distance, L2 norm between these two descriptors. When I take the L2 norm, the formula is well here. Take a L2 norm, you get the distance. Now I know 4.6 is the distance between feature point 1 and feature point 1 of the other image. 4.6 is the distance. Take the distance between first feature and second feature. Second, then 2, 1, 2, 2. By seeing this, the minimum distance value is the matched feature. So 2, 1 is the minimum distance. What is the minimum distance? 3.46. So 2 of the source image matches with 1 of the other image, destination image. So I can say this is the matched point. This is how I do the matching. Okay. So where we have moved from feature detection to feature description. From feature description, we have moved to feature matching. Some 8-9 years back, one of my students did a project in feature matching. What did she do is she started comparing several distance measures. Okay, instead of using Euclidean distance, she tried experimenting several distance measures. She has changed the same project she has done with several distance measures. You can use either Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, chi-square distance, city block distance, or Bhattacharya distance. She has compared 5 different distances and she said what distance measure is better to find the distance between two different points, which is suitable for this particular application. Okay, for IR images, some other distance measure can be suitable. So students can explore all this. You can take a project where you can change different distances and try to identify the distance measures and identify which one is the best distance function. Okay, so this is one example of image matching. This I match the whole image. If you want to do object matching, what is that you need to do? Detect features from an object, describe the features from an object, try to match the features from source object and destination object. The distance, minimum distance, is called the matched object. So you can do object matching, you can do image matching. So you can do any project. What is that you need to know? You need to know what type of detector I need to use, what type of descriptor I need to use, what type of distance measure I need to employ to find the distance between the feature descriptors is what you need to understand. So this I've taken from a slide. This is from Berkeley University. Okay, if you see these two images, just take 1 second of your time and see the images. Both are same images taken at different views. Can you see there are only 3 points, 3 features? The square patch which I am showing here is the correct feature. The other patch which my arrow mark is showing is also a right feature, whereas this point, a feature is detected here, whereas here the feature is detected near below the leg. Okay, if you take the distance between the descriptors, can you see 50, 75, 200? So 50 is the true match, 75 is also a true match, but 200 is a false match. This is how you identify the true matches and false matches. Ma'am, what are the evaluation measures? What is true positives? Total true positives are nothing but number of detected matches that are correct. There are 2 matches that is detected, which is correct. I call true positive is 2, false positive is 1. Okay, so based on that, you can draw a precision and recall curve based on the true positives and false positives. This I think Sandhya ma'am has covered in her lecture. So these are the evaluation measures to evaluate image matching. Ma'am, now you need to understand what you said. a feature detector is used to detect the feature. Output of a feature detector is XY coordinates. What are the detection algorithms available in the literature? If you see it, there are n number of feature detectors available in the literature, students. Some feature detectors are used to detect corners, some are used to detect the blobs, some are used to detect the edges, some are used to detect the region features. So I have given you slide from my thesis where I've differentiated all the detectors based on the invariance. You take Harris detector is robust detector. Either the image is rotated or affine images, whatever the deformation it can do, it can detect a feature. So these are all various detectors available in the literature. If you see this one single slide took me closely 1 year of understanding to put the slide here. It shows how many feature detecting algorithms we have in the market. Starting from 77, first people started detecting point feature, then people started extracting line feature, then people started extracting edge feature, then they moved to corner, then they moved to higher level features like syntactic features, statistical features. So if you see, today we have several feature detectors. I've given the years. If it is visible, you can see till 2018 or 19, several algorithms available to detect features. So what is challenges? Challenges, you need to experiment and understand which feature detector I need to use so that I can get better information from an image. This is what you need to experiment. I have also given a table. This is from a paper I've taken. Different feature detectors. Can you see different feature detectors available in the literature? Using these feature detectors, you can detect the features. Ma'am, for visible image, all is okay. Any visible image you take, very easy to detect a feature. What about radar images? If you see radar images, it's not that easy. That easy game also. So people who are working in radar images or medical images is they're working with a very complex images. Okay. What are the detectors you have to detect features? What all I have shown here? Can you see this feature detectors? I've shown n number of feature detectors in the literature. All this work beautifully well for normal optical image. Optical image means the image which is taken through your mobile cameras or optical cameras. What about the images which is acquired through a radar sensors? This, these feature detectors will not work here. You need to have special detectors which is used to extract features from these images. What all the extractors you have? SAR-SIFT, PSO-SIFT, fractional SIFT. These are all the different algorithm which is used to extract features from these images. Infrared images. For infrared images, again, normally feature detectors will not work. Again, you need to use all multispectral feature detecting algorithms. Today, something is in research is this one. What people are doing? People are trying to detect beautiful detectors and descriptors, which is maximum extract features from the image. This is the research which is happening nowadays. So this is a visible image. These are all different infrared images. Uh, so extracting features from this image is complex. You will not believe, you will not get one single feature from this road. Okay, so you need complex feature descriptor algorithm or detector algorithm to detect the features and describe the features. So these is about feature detection and feature description. Uh, I think we have 10 more minutes. I just want to tell you there is one contribution I have made in my PhD is we have detected a feature detector algorithm for detecting features from SAR image. This is my PhD area. The complete PhD area is to, one part of my PhD area is to detect designed an algorithm that detects features from a SAR image, and that algorithm is robust compared to existing algorithm. And a paper has been published in a German-based journal. So that is one major contribution I have done in feature detection with help of Dr. Hanumanlu sir and Dr. Sandhya ma'am. I need to refer it. I need to tell students what are the project ideas you have. One is filtering, other one is trying to match local features. This is the other project you can do. Or you can recognize the scenes from an image and give it to a classifier. These are all the various project ideas you can do. But today, we are no more using this. We are using what? Deep nets. You give an image, you get an output, whether that image belong to cat or image belong to ball, all that. So these are all conventional approaches. When it comes to deep net is a contemporary approach. Both are doing the same job. Okay. So what is that? Superhuman state of art. It has become superhuman state of art. It is not state of art. It is superhuman state of art. You know, machine learning is applied with visual data. This visual data is obtained from computer vision algorithms. So deep learning is a big shoot or disruption to this field. But we can end saying that computer vision today, the kind of algorithm that is releasing every year, we can say that with enough data, with enough good number of data, the computer vision algorithm matches even or outperforms the human vision in recognition. I can say it outperforms the human vision today. And I have given for the students, these are the data sets available in the literature. You can go through the data sets for the images. And these are the textbooks you can refer for computer vision. Zaleski is the first textbook, major textbook, reference book for computer vision. These are the several textbooks you have. And I would like to take few questions from the students.
Like, currently, there are no questions in the chat, ma'am. I guess we
Yes.
need to wait for some time.
Yeah, no problem.
Ma'am, there's a. Can you see the chat, ma'am? Once, like Dr. Padmaja has a question.
I've just seen it. Ma'am, you have written, is there any big data analytics, any good Indian author book? Sorry, ma'am, I really don't know because I don't work in that field. Definitely, I just check with others and get back to you on this.
I guess there are no doubts, ma'am. Only credits on you, acknowledgements and credits on you.
Okay. At least I just want to know, could you understand how we have progressed from image processing to computer vision, from computer vision to machine learning? I need to tell to students, the 30 students who are sitting here, I've just started from the scratch 15 years back from image processing. Slowly, I moved to computer vision. Then I moved to machine learning. Today, completely, I'm working on machine learning models. Now, I feel that there is a push for me to move from machine learning to deep learning. So, this is how we have progressed. This is how the whole industry is progressing in this particular field. I wish at least at the end of the session, students should understand what is a feature, how to extract the features or several algorithms. If anything you need, you can just message me. I'll give my email ID. And thank you for this session. If there is any question, I can take it.
Madam, they are asking for some books, books on computer vision.
Yeah. I've given that. That is available in the PowerPoint presentation. I've given 4 major books which is used in computer vision. If 32 students who are there, if 32 people are students, I can say just hold for a few more years. Computer vision would be a part of your subject. So definitely a part of your subject. Now it is 1 unit in AI. Okay then, and thanks for this opportunity. Thanks, Sujan.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Ma'am, just a minute.
Yeah.
On behalf of CSI MBSR, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed for organizing this webinar on computer vision and machine learning. At the outset, I thank our speaker Sirisha Dagubati ma'am. We are really enlightened with our knowledge and presence. We are thankful to our faculty coordinator Sujanavan sir for his motivation. A special thanks to our to the student coordinators and student branch counselors for her support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to all the participants for active participation. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's webinar session. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam.
Gautam, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess participants are asking for PPTs. I hope you'll be sending them by tonight or tomorrow.
We'll be sending tonight, sir.
Okay then.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, bye.